for us to be mindful of our surroundings and the possibility of man losing it. Internet service has been restored, and we're going to restart our live streams on YouTube and Facebook Live. So that's what we're doing right now. And going live once again. Michael from Belle Plaine in Clarendon is greeting us. Welcome, Michael from Belle Plaine in Clarendon. Good to have you on board. Spider says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. You're playing the perfect song. Read the argument about the police cars. How much did we order? I think you mean how many. That's the how many did we order and how many did we get? I can't remember hearing any of the parliamentary, I guess you mean any member of parliament on that score. And defending Jamaica like how they are defending Bobby now. The world is really upside down, says Spider. And going up the line again, we see Miss June in Oslo, Norway. Good to have you join us, as usual, from Oslo, Norway, where it's now 2 minutes to 10 o'clock in the night. Good to have you join us. Way past your bedtime, Miss June. Thank you very much for staying in touch with us. And let's see from the Power 106 WhatsApp line. This person has a lot to say. I think this is going to be in our 3:30 segment. We'll read this message in our 3:30 to 4 o'clock segment when we will have Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. That's coming up at 3:30. Any matter in relation to U.S. immigration, we will be taking your calls between 3:30 and 4 o'clock this afternoon. So stand by for that. Already this person is early out of the blocks by sending these inquiries to our WhatsApp number. And so we'll hold this one. Let's go on to another one in the meantime. And be sure to remember that we have committed to returning to that message. Crocs in Black River says, greetings. So the Honorable Usain Bolt still hasn't heard about his money, and he seems to be getting frustrated. Are the people of Jamaica going to sit by and allow the government, the police, and the prosecutors to keep the usual overused piece of dirty old tarpaulin stretched tightly over SSL fraud? From Crocs in Black River. One moment, please.
Contractors, developers, and small builders. Contact Coast to Coast Group of Companies for high-quality concrete products. The time by Coast to Coast Group of Companies is
3 o'clock.
Your taxes hold the key. Property owners, let's get digital. Property taxes for 2023-24 are due April 1. Payments can be made by April 30 in full, half-yearly or quarterly installments. Pay using these options. Online at jamaicatax.gov.jm. The TAJ mobile app, the mobile tax collection unit, NCB online banking, and Scotia online and mobile app. Call 888-TAX-HELP. That's 888-829-4357. Or visit jamaicatax.gov.jm for details.
I said the world is upside down. The
said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. Oh,
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. More messages coming in. So before the break, Crocs was asking and making public his disappointment at the state of affairs with respect to the fact that Usain Bolt still hasn't heard about his money. And Crocs says he, that's Usain Bolt, seems to be getting frustrated. And he's asking, are the people of Jamaica going to sit by and allow the government, the police, and the prosecutors to keep the usual overused piece of dirty old tarpaulin stretched tightly over the SSL fraud? That's a question from Crocs in Black River. Continuing with more on your program, 6 FM. Let's go to the same as the WhatsApp number, 876. Thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please. Are you there? Connection. Please try again. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Paro 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. Why is the government attacking the Integrity Commission as if to say the government itself doesn't have any integrity regarding accountability in the running of the affairs of the state? If we tear down integrity, what would be left? Corruption. And we can't stand by as spectators and allow the dignity of the commission to be tarnished by this government. Another thread of messages from Cuban in Georgia. He says, Sir Malcolm, I think there is some connection to the burning of several markets in the island in the past few weeks. Well, it's been years, actually, that it's been like this. Over the past few weeks, few years or several years, this frequent lighting of markets, burning of markets in Jamaica. We continue to be skeptical about these fires, these market fires. Anyway, the message goes on. I think there's some connection, We need the department to come up with a report after its findings from the fires. Sir Malcolm, this is also an attack on the people who are the cornerstone of the economy through thick and thin. So we need to know who's behind the burning of the market and the displacement of the vendors who have to use the market for their livelihoods. The Port Antonio market in particular, Sir Malcolm, those vendors were insured and paying their market fees on time up to the day of the fire. So we need to hear from the municipal authorities on when the Musgrave market will be rehabilitated. Where's the Musgrave market? Or is that the same one in Port Antonio? Rachel Graham says she's listening on the radio. Thank you very much for listening, Rachel. Good to see you online. Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Good afternoon, Velta Wilson. Thank you very much for joining us. Donovan Campbell on YouTube says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. The sound is back. Indeed, it is. Thank you. Thank you very much for your messages. As we continue with more, your program, Both Sides of the Story, Paro 106, streaming live on the Gleaners website, go live on your smart devices all over the world. Still taking your calls on 876 922 411225. Uh, let's continue with more, and a couple more messages coming in. This one from Courtney, who shared with us photos of a flooded roadway or flooded roadways and property entrances. Uh, Courtney is telling us that the MP is Mrs. Natalie Nita Garvey, and the parish councillor or the municipal councillor is Miss Pat Harris. So we trust by now Miss Pat Harris, the councillor for the Strathmore Gardens division, and the Member of Parliament, Mrs. Natalie Nita Garvey, that they are both aware of the situation in Strathmore Gardens, and we give them the benefit of the doubt that they have done work before, or they will be doing work, or seeing to it that work is done to deal with the situation as it is now. Over to over to Councillor Pat Harris and Member of Parliament Mrs. Natalie Nita Garvey. Let's go up the line. Someone says, big up the porous police for their quick action in catching 3 robbers this morning. That's good. This one, let's go on to this. 876-365-3346, the text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. More messages coming in. Thank you very much. And you can keep them coming while we share with our faithful listeners at home and abroad some other information. For those who love ice cream, 1786 was the year commercial ice cream was manufactured for the first time in New York City in 1786. In 1790, the great Alexander Hamilton, in his capacity as America's first Treasury Secretary, repaid the United States of America's first loan, which was borrowed on September 18, 1789. The figure was $191,608.81. As we've shared before on this program, Alexander Hamilton of Nevis, in what is now known as St. Kitts Nevis, was not the only Caribbean man to serve as Secretary of the Treasury for the United States. In fact, a Jamaican, Alexander Dallas, also served as America's Treasury Secretary. His father, Dr. Robert Dallas, was a Scots physician who migrated to Jamaica to seek his fortune. He established himself in Kingston and later bought an estate named Boar Castle, B-O-A-R Castle, in 1758 in the nearby hills. He renamed it Dallas Castle, the first time that the name was being given to a location in the New World. He established a substantial operation based on sugar and later coffee. Dr. Dallas had 3 sons in Jamaica, with the youngest, Alexander, being born at Dallas Castle on the 21st of June, 1759. Alexander's mother was Sarah Elizabeth Cormac Hewitt, In 1776, Alexander Dallas migrated to the USA and became active in public affairs, eventually serving as Secretary of the Treasury from 1814 to 1816. Alexander Dallas's son, George Mifflin Dallas, went a step further. He not only became a mayor of Philadelphia and a United States senator, he was a strong supporter of President Polk, Polk, in the debates on the expansion of the Union. This led to the US-Mexican War and resulted in a significant expansion in the territory of the United States of America. In 1844, when Polk, Polk, when Polk ran for the presidency, George Mifflin Dallas was his running mate in a close battle. They were victorious. In fact, in 1845, the new state of Texas founded a city and named it after the Dallas family. And that's how Dallas, Texas got its name. A Jamaican, George Dallas, served as the 11th Vice President of the United States of America, George Mifflin Dallas. He served from March 4, 1845 to March 4, 1849. Another of Dr. Robert Dallas's grandsons, Samuel Jackson Dallas, served as a Speaker of the Jamaica House of Assembly from 1842 to 1849. On this day in 1809, Thomas Paine died in New York, New York. He was born on the 29th of January, 1737, in a place called Thetford, Norfolk, England. Thomas Paine was an English-American writer and political pamphleteer. That's Pamphletier, a pamphleteer, whose common sense pamphlet, a pamphlet is like a brochure. It used to be used in the early days for propaganda purposes, but especially if you were a political pamphleteer back then. So Thomas Paine, Paine, was an English-American writer and political pamphleteer, Pamphletier, whose common sense pamphlet and crisis papers were important influences on the American Revolution. Other works that contributed to his reputation as one of the greatest political propagandists in history were Rights of Man, a defense of the French Revolution and of Republican principles, and The Age of Reason, an exposition of the place of religion in society. Thomas Paine, author, pamphleteer, radical, inventor, intellectual, revolutionary, died on this day in 1809. Here's what Thomas Paine said. We'll share it with you after the break.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
Your taxes hold the key. Property owners, let's get digital. Property taxes for 2023-24 are due April 1. Payments can be made by April 30 in full, half-yearly or quarterly installments. Pay using these options. Online at jamaicatax.gov.jm, the THA mobile app, the Mobile Tax Collection Unit, NCB Online Banking and Scotia Online and Mobile app. Call 888-TAX-HELP. That's 888-829-4357. Or visit jamaicatax.gov.jm for details. Jamaica, an extraordinary place with pioneering people. Unfold some intriguing events since Jamaica's independence in the pages of the souvenir book, Best of Jamaica. Now available at The Gleaner. Buy a copy today. The Gleaner, where life unfolds.
I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around.
And so here's what Thomas Paine said in the piece entitled The Crisis, which was published on the 23rd of December, 1776. The words of Thomas Paine: "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon its goods, and it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated." The words there of Thomas Paine, author, pamphleteer, radical inventor, intellectual revolutionary, died on this day in 1809. Here's a look at Jamaica's population in 1844. Jamaica's population in 1844 was 377,433 people, consisting of 181,633 men and 195,800 women. Of these, 15,729 were white, 68,576 were colored, and 293,128 were black. Jamaica's population in 1844, 377,433. Hello to the students of St. Andrew High School for Girls. The first board meeting of St. Andrew High School for Girls was held at Cecilia Lodge on Cecilia Avenue in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. The chairman of the board was Reverend John Curry. That first board meeting of St. Andrew High School for Girls happened on this day in 1925. Let's go to 1945. There's a connection to be made. 1945, Paula de Cordova, some people say de Cordova, Paula de Cordova, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Gabriel de Cordova of 95 Hope Road, St. Andrew, received the Bachelor of Arts degree at the graduating exercises of Skidmore College, Saratoga Springs in New York, in the United States. She was enrolled in the liberal arts division, majoring in Romance languages. In 1935, the bodies of Jacob de Cordova and his wife Rebecca were reinterred at the State Cemetery in Austin, Texas, from Bosque Country. De Cordova was born in Spanish Town, Jamaica on the 6th of June, 1808, founded the Gleaner in 1834, and the city of Waco, Texas. The reburial was to honor those who had contributed to the development of the state of Texas. Jacob Raphael de Cordova, Texas land agent and colonizer, was born in Spanish Town near Kingston, Jamaica, as we said, on the 6th of June. That was in 1808, the youngest of three sons of Judith and Raphael de Cordova. Since his mother died at his birth, he was reared by an aunt in England. He was well educated and became proficient in English, French, Spanish, German, and Hebrew. His father, a Jewish Jamaican coffee grower and exporter, moved to Philadelphia, where he became president of Congregation Mikveh Israel in 1820. Jacob joined his father in Philadelphia, and there he married Rebecca Sterling about 1826 and learned the printing trade. His ancestors had supported themselves as printers for generations, beginning in the 16th century when de Cordova in Spain published Alvaro Núñez Cabeza de Vacas, Explorations in Texas. In 1834, Jacob moved back to Kingston, where he and his brother Joshua started a newspaper. Yes, they did. The Kingston Daily Gleaner, which continues in publication. What a thing. There's a lot more to share. It's just a lot. We feel like we're giving you information overload. (1948), a hand-built aluminum prototype labeled Number One became the first vehicle to bear the name of one of the world's leading luxury car manufacturers, Porsche, which is spelled Porsche. The Austrian automotive engineer Ferdinand Porsche debuted his first design at the World's Fair in Paris in 1900. The electric vehicle, for those who think electric vehicles are new, the electric vehicle set several Austrian land speed records, reaching more than 35 miles per hour and earning international acclaim for the young engineer. He became general director of the Austro-Daimler Company, an outpost of the German automaker, in 1916, and later moved to Daimler headquarters in Stuttgart. Daimler merged with the Benz firm in the 1920s, and Porsche was chiefly responsible for designing some of the great Mercedes racing cars of that decade. Porsche left Daimler in 1931 and formed his own company. A few years later, Adolf Hitler called on the engineer to aid in the production of a small people's car for the German masses. With his son, also named Ferdinand, known as Ferry, Porsche designed the prototype for the original Volkswagen, known as the KDF, Kraft durch Freude, or Strength Through Joy, in 1936. During World War II, the Porsches also designed military vehicles, most notably the powerful Tiger tank. At war's end, the French accused the elder Porsche of war crimes and imprisoned him for more than a year. Ferry struggled to keep the family firm afloat. He built a Grand Prix race car, the Type 360 Sicitalia, for a wealthy Italian industrialist, and used the money to pay his father's bail. When Porsche was released from prison, he approved of another project Ferry had undertaken, a new sports car that would be the first to actually bear the name Porsche. Dubbed the Type 356, the new car was in the tradition of earlier Porsche-designed race cars such as Sicitalia. The engine was placed mid-chassis ahead of the transaxle with modified Volkswagen drivetrain components. The 356 went into production during the winter of 1947-48 and the aluminum prototype, built entirely by hand, was completed on June 8, 1948. The Germans subsequently hired Porsche to consult on further development of the Volkswagen. With the proceeds, Porsche opened new offices in Stuttgart with plans to build up to 500 of his company's own cars per year. Over the next 2 decades, the company would build more than 78,000 vehicles. And let's see, just before we get to your legal corner, a consignment of 12 tons of fresh pineapples leaves Port Antonio for the SS Jamaica producer for the United Kingdom. It was the second such shipment since the pineapple season started, and the object of both shipments is to test how well pineapples will go in the same ocean storage as bananas. Can you imagine? Jamaica used to send consignments of 12 tons of fresh pineapples from Port Antonio to the United Kingdom. Just look at us now. And let's see if we can give you another. The St. Catherine High School for Girls on St. John's Road, Spanish Town, was officially opened and blessed. Blessing of the twin structure was done by Roman Catholic Bishop of Kingston, the Right Reverend John J. McKelney. Guest speaker was Edwin Allen, Minister of Education. The buildings, which stand on 15 acres of land, will be expanded to in the future when the school will become a co-ed institution. And it has become a co-educational institution. And see if we can give you a couple more nuggets of history before we go to your legal corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. In fact, we need to queue up that first question, which came in earlier this afternoon, so that we don't forget it. And this was the first of the messages for Dahlia Walker Huntington. I think it was on the right. We found it. So as soon as we get going on your legal corner, this will be our first message, because indeed it was the first message to come in. It came in at looks like 22 minutes to 3 o'clock. 22 minutes to 3. That's when that first message came in. Let's take the break, and then it will be time for your legal corner.
Help us protect Jamaica's borders. Tell us about any illegal guns coming through customs controlled areas. Call Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 3:30. Are roads a major concern? What about those drains that are in need of repair or cleaning? Who's responsible for repairing my road, and when will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll-free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692. Or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads.
It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. It's onespotmedia.com. Watch your favorite local program or listen to your favorite radio station from anywhere in the world on your tablet, smartphone, or personal computer. Download the app now and keep up to date with your favorite local programs on TVJ. Check us out at onespotmedia.com. Follow us on Instagram, facebook.com/onespotmedia, and subscribe now. OneSmartMedia.com.
Welcome to Your Legal Corner on Power 106 FM, your source of information for all matters regarding U.S. immigration. Call in with your questions and concerns on 876-922-41125. You can send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Time now for Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story, right here on Power 106 FM.
Indeed, it is a Thursday afternoon, just after 3:30, and that means time for Your Legal Corner with U.S. immigration attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. Good afternoon to you, Miss Dahlia. How are you?
Hi, Dervan. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am fine, thanks. Always good to have you on board here on Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story on Power 106 FM. We trust you are not being impacted by the 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 hazardous haze that's been blanketing portions of North America.
No, it hasn't gotten this far south yet, and I haven't watched any weather reports today to see if it's anticipated to come south. But I know it's making its way south from New York to DC and Philadelphia, all and Maryland, all places where we have a lot of Jamaicans residing. So I do hope there everybody's being careful and wearing masks if you have to go outside and minimize your time outside because it's bad. It's really bad.
Indeed, we trust that this too will pass pretty soon. In the meantime, though, we want to encourage those of you listening, if you have questions, if you have issues with respect to U.S. immigration, this is the program, this is the time. Here are the numbers to call: 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number for Your Legal Corner: 876 279 8598. 876 279 8598. So, Miss Dahlia, before you came on the line, maybe about almost an hour ago, we got a message. Let's see. It says here, and well, we won't call the person's name, although that information has been shared. But the person says, I was deported 30 years ago. I had a very unfair, complicated case. The prosecutor 30 years ago was willing to help me, but underneath the law, I was automatically deportable. My question is, if my mother was to pass away, will it be hard for me to attend her funeral? Also, my husband is to go for surgery. Will that be hard? With my criminal record,
Mhm.
I'm scared to invest because if I get denied, it will set me back financially. I will highly appreciate your honesty.
Well, it's hard to give a complete answer without knowing all of the facts, but let's just speak from a general perspective. Whatever your makes you deportable to the United States, 99% of the time it's going to make you inadmissible. So, depending on why this person was deported, they would have been told you can stay out for 5, 10, 20, or permanently. The person admits it was a complicated case. So I don't know what the underlying charges are. But something like this, when a client comes to me with this kind of scenario, we say we have to request your file from USCIS, pour through it, see what your underlying criminal issues are, see what immigration laws you were accused of violating, the basis for your removal, see if you have any qualifying relative who can file for you, and then see if there's any waiver available. Now, it doesn't sound like this person wants to go back permanently. It sounds like they want to get a non-immigrant visa to visit. Now, keep in mind that even if you don't have anything in your background, a non-immigrant visa is difficult to obtain because it goes with the premonition or presupposition rather that you are going to America and that you're not coming back, and you have to show significant ties, and of course that you will not be a danger to the United States. So all of that has to factor in. So when you take a look at all of the things that we're going to look at when we get the immigration file, then you determine if the person can, what are their basis of applying for a non-immigrant visa waiver. Technically, anybody can apply for a non-immigrant waiver unless you're a former Nazi or a terrorist. But getting one is a whole other question because it comes down to a lot of discretion on the part of the officer, and some of them are not very forgiving. So, if you've been deported, I would say to the person that you cannot just apply for a visa and expect to get it. If you're going to apply for a visa, you have to apply with a non immigrant waiver, and there still is no guarantee that that non immigrant waiver will be granted by a consular officer today.
I see.
It's a sad scenario, but
Hmm.
sometimes things happen and they stay with us for the rest of our lives,
That is true.
good and bad.
Hmm.
So
So true. Here's a message, Miss Delia. Good afternoon. How are you doing today? If someone has a green card, how soon can they apply for citizenship?
well, it depends on how you got the green card. If you got the green card as a result of marriage to an American citizen and you're still living and married to and living with that American citizen, you can apply in 3 years. If you got the green card through any other means, or if the marriage that gave you the green card is no longer valid, then you have to wait 5 years to apply. And the system allows you to apply 90 days before those either the 5 year or the 3 year period has come about.
I see. Another thing that's been a bit of information that's been doing the rounds. I'm not sure if you've heard about it, of
Mm,
some changes with immigration having to do with Canada and the United States, and and people holding Canadian visas uh, possibly will, going forward in the future, will be able to travel to the United States on a Canadian visa. Have you heard any such thing?
no, I have not heard that at all. I've not heard that. I know that Canada issued a number of countries that are now going to be able to travel without visas, and Jamaica is not one of them. But there was some mischievous person or persons circulating on social media that Jamaica was included. Jamaica is not. There are other countries, and Jamaica is not one of them. But I have not heard that if you have a Canadian visa, you'll be allowed into the United States. I mental change, and I don't know if that happens. As I said, that would be a seismic shift in the way visas or entry to the United States is granted.
That's what I thought. But anyway,
Excuse me.
yes.
Yeah. And I know I saw some people on social media talking about why we were excluded. What we the basis for which countries make these decisions has to do a lot with how intending immigrants use opportunities when they get it.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, for example, in Jamaica, we have a high incidence of fraud when it comes to U.S. immigration. So there is strict scrutiny of applications for visas at the U.S. Embassy. We also do not qualify for what's called a diversity visa, which is a lottery that you can just fill out a simple application, a one pager, and a computer generates whether or not you can get a green card. Jamaicans don't qualify for that because the basis of that issuance in America is the number of people who have migrated from a particular country over the last 5 years. And Jamaica has a significantly high per capita migration. Don't remember what the numbers are right now, but we're very high.
Hmm.
So countries like Haiti, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Jamaica don't qualify for the visa lottery because we have a high number of our citizens migrating. So there's not always, there's conspiracy theorists that abound. There's not always a conspiracy behind why we don't qualify for certain benefits. Some of it is definitely rooted in fact, and of course, some of it is based on discretion.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Delia. Here's another one for you. Good afternoon.
Mhm.
Where do F3 visa applications documentarily clear since September 2020 fall?
Tell you exactly where they fall in line, but let's look at it. So F3 is the adult, the married son or daughter of an American citizen. It's one of those categories that have always taken very long, and now because of backlogs, it's taking longer. So you could be documentarily qualified and no visa is available for you. Until a visa is available, you don't get in line for an interview. So being documentarily qualified is one thing, but a visa being available is the other. So right now in the month of June, visas are available for persons in that category, the F3 category, who were filed for prior to December 8th of 2008. So if you were filed for before December 8th, 2008, and you're documentarily qualified, then you're in line. If you were filed for after December of 2008, even if you're documentarily qualified, you will not be in the line for them to consider you for an interview because no visa is available for you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Delia. You're listening to Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM with U.S. Immigration Attorney at Law Delia Walker Huntington. Keep those messages coming in, those questions, 876-922-4112 or send your text messages to 876-279-8598. One moment, please.
For any project, ABC Electrical Sales has all your electrical best prices. 8 Hagley Park Road, Kingston, 7543714. The top electrical sales is
345. Supreme Real Estate, licensed real estate dealers, the experts in residential, commercial, industrial, hotels, and villa sales, rentals, and leases. Supreme Real Estate, Main Street, Salem, Runaway Bay, St. Anne. Call 876-973-5026 or 876-973-6142 and email supremerealestate@cwjamaica.com.
Sir.
#1 digital sales and marketing conference will be live in will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692, or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads. You're listening to Your Legal Corner, your source of information on all matters regarding U.S. immigration. You can call in with your questions and concerns on 876-922-41125. You can send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Now, back to Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Delia Walker Huntington. If you have questions, Delia Walker Huntington has answers. 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line for Your Legal Corner, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-279-8598. 876-279-8598. There's a bit of a follow-up to the earlier question, Ms. Delia, in relation to the message which read, "Good afternoon, how are you doing today? If someone has a green card, how soon can they apply for citizenship?" And below that, a follow-up note that says, "Throughout a son file for his father." Something is not right. I don't know. But this is what I'm seeing. Through, and it might be a typo. Throughout a son file for his father.
So son file for father is definitely not a spousal relationship. So you have to wait 5 years. You can apply 90 days before the 5-year anniversary, but there's some other requirements. You must have spent more than half of those 5 years in the United States. No absence during that 5-year period must have been for 6 months or more. You must be a person of good moral character. This speaks to whether you've been arrested, whether you filed your taxes, and such things. So there's a time frame, yes, you have to have the green card for 5 years, but there are other requirements to the citizenship.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well,
The eligibility, I should say.
Got you. There's a letter, one of the letters to you in the Gleaner was brought to my attention. I see it labeled as Your Legal Corner case study. So it says, "Dear Mrs. Walker Huntington, my daughter's grandmother is filing for her dad, and she's on her dad's filing. Last June, they had a date for medical and interview. At the medical, the dad had a chest cold. He was told to come back in 3 days to pass up the cold, which had to be tested in Canada to see if it was a bacteria, and that it would take 2 months to be returned. They were also told not to go to the interview, and they did not. In September of last year, the hospital called and told me the result was back and that they sent it to the embassy. They also said that if I did not hear from them in 5 days, I should call the embassy. Since I wasn't the one doing the filing, I told the grandmother what to do. When December came and I didn't hear anything, I called the grandmother and asked her if she wanted me to contact the embassy. I did, and told them all that happened. The lady was just saying repeatedly, "Why didn't they come to the interview? We haven't heard anything from them, and we are just at a crossroads. Please, we are begging for your help."
Yeah, this is a really sad situation because it should not have taken this long. First of all, whenever you have an interview at the embassy, you need to go. Even if you don't have all the documents, you need to go for the interview. Now, having said that, a lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes it's just unavoidable that you cannot go. And there is a system that requires you to register with the embassy before going in, so that you can do what they call courier service. That's once you're registered, you can ask them to reschedule. You can ask them to reschedule the appointment and just tell them why you missed it. Here, this person was just giving wrong information. Should have gone to the embassy and they would have been missing the medical report that would have been supplemented. The file would have caught up, the medical report would have caught up with the file and they would have approved it, barring there was no other issue. Now they're at a disadvantage because they've not been interviewed. So the medical report might be there, but there's no interview to match it to. So they need to ske- reschedule via email. And it's disappointing that the embassy person, instead of telling them what I just said, was really just reprimanding them and not giving them any indication of what the next steps are. The next step is that you ask to reschedule the appointment because you missed it, and you missed it because you were given wrong information. So I hope they move forward because this family should definitely have migrated already, and there's also the possibility that the documents that they submitted to the National Visa Center have now expired. Um, their police record may have already expired. For certain, the affidavit of support has old financial information. They're going to need new financial information to be submitted, like the 2022 tax returns for the sponsor and joint sponsor if there's one, because the time has passed for the people to file their taxes for 2022. So this really has just caused, as you can tell from the letter, the person is they're perplexed. They don't know where to turn. So they need to request a new appointment, and the embassy will tell them what they have to redo.
All right. Here's a heavily coded message which perhaps only you could understand, Miss Delia. Let's see. It says, "Good day." They actually call you Miss Gloria as opposed to Miss Delia. But anyway, good day, uh, Miss Gloria and Dervan. I am the spouse of an LPR. I know the F2A is not current. What I would like to know, if it is the I-797C form that has the priority date. If so, mine is 0708-2021. I am DQ from September 2022. Thanks much.
Okay, so LPR means lawful permanent resident or green card holder. So they're the spouse of a green card holder, which means they're in the F2A preference category. As the currentness of that means whether a visa is available for them. And a visa is available because even when it rolled back, I don't think it went back that far, but it is current in June. DQ means that they were documentarily qualified last September. So categories current, they're documentarily qualified, so they should be called anytime now, or should be notified by the National Visa Center anytime now that they are to come in, or she or he's to come in for an interview at the embassy.
Okay. Thank you very much,
When
Miss.
they get that appointment, they'll be told to go and do their medical and to get themselves ready.
Mhm. Good. Listeners, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Your Legal Corner with Dahlia Walker Huntington. She's a U.S. immigration attorney. If you have questions with respect to U.S. immigration, now would be a good time, although we have just a few minutes to go. Go ahead and send us your messages. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-279-8598, 876-279-8598, and the regular call-in lines, 876-922-4112 to 5, 876-922-4112 to 5. And we once again want to remind you, we'll give you this information in a couple of minutes, how you can get in touch with Dahlia Walker Huntington. But first, uh, Ms. Dahlia, in terms of I don't know if you've had the opportunity to listen to any portion of the press conference between President Biden and Rishi Sunak, the UK Prime Minister.
I wasn't paying attention. It was playing in the background, but I really was not paying attention.
Okay, because I was just wondering if I don't think they would have, well, who knows, in terms of uh, immigration related matters necessarily. Uh,
Well,
that's
maybe
not
not at
quite
that
common.
level, but
Mm.
certainly the US and the UK and Canada, they all communicate and collaborate when it comes to immigration. For example, if you have committed a crime in the United Kingdom, it could make you inadmissible to the United States, and vice versa. If you've committed a crime in the US and you're filing to go to the UK to live, it can stop you. And on that note, a lot of times people come to visit. They're not even living here. They come on a visit and they're with friends and family, and they get caught up in the criminal justice system in the United States. Be very careful who you associate with, because so often these brief and casual encounters lead to um, law enforcement getting involved, leading to your arrest. You might be at somebody's house, the house gets raided, there's drugs in the house, everybody gets swept up. You're in a car, it gets stopped, there are drugs in the car, there's a gun in the car, everybody gets swept up. You go out with your friends, somebody shoplifts, you're a group of you in the store, somebody shoplifts, everybody gets arrested, you get caught up. So please be very careful what you do when you come to visit, because it can have lifelong implications for you, can prevent you from migrating to another country. And I see it happen all too often in my practice. All too often, people just don't think of the seriousness of the associations that they're making.
And on that sober note, Ms. Dahlia, thank you so much for another edition of Your Legal Corner. Wishing you and yours all the very best. And we look forward, all things being well, to next week.
Sure. Just want to give out the numbers if anybody's trying to reach me. It's 954-963-8555, 954-963-8555. I do practice immigration law all around the United States.
Thank you very much. Dahlia Walker
Thank you.
Huntington. It's a pleasure. Always happy to have you on board. Dahlia Walker Huntington, U.S. immigration attorney, on Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story, Power 106.
You've just listened to Your Legal Corner, your source of information for all matters regarding U.S. immigration. Join us next Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story, right here on Power 106 FM. At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4:01 on Power 106.
upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Crime and violence, poverty and starvation, ecological calamity, economic instability. What's wrong with humanity? Have they lost their sanity? For the sake of vanity. We like to love now. You know that we need it, yeah. What about love, 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 love?
Que hora es en espagnol? Son las 4:02. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4 heures de Sciences. Tidien le 4:02. 2 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. That's the text line, which doubles as the WhatsApp number. And we thank you very much for your indulgence as we continue with more here on the show. Hello to Joan Edgehill. She says, remember to wear your masks, my New York friends. And she posts a pair of clasped hands and some business news coming out of the region. Dollar, DOLLA, seeks regulatory approval for expansion into St. Lucia and Barbados. So that is to come. That is to come. Let's get another update here now on developments at home and abroad, especially for those who have been busy and not able to track what's happening in the news. Portmore taxi operator wanted for murder in the U.S. remanded. The St. Catherine fugitive, who is wanted for murder in the United States and had been hiding in Jamaica since 2006, was today remanded in custody when he appeared in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. Overseas, Trump braces for possible federal charges after being warned he's a target of documents probe. Former President Donald Trump and his aides are bracing for a potential indictment in the classified documents investigation, as prosecutors handling the probe were spotted today, Thursday, at a Miami courthouse. So that's further developments. Also, IT company loses claim for US 100 million from government over terminated tablets contract. Remember that? That was a long time ago. Hold on. See if we can bring this back up. This, I think I recall this story making the rounds. It seemed at the time like just one big waste of time and energy and money and everything else. IT company loses claim for US 100 million from government over terminated tablets contract. The Supreme Court has dismissed a claim by IT firm Geotech Vision for state-owned e-learning Jamaica company to pay more than 100 million US for terminating a contract to supply over 19,000 tablets to schools in 2019. I'm remembering that clearly now. I'm remembering that. E-learning won its counterclaim in the sum of $155,640 with interest at a rate of 6% per annum. Geotech will also have to pay legal costs in both claims. Justice Lisa Palmer Hamilton handed down judgment today, Thursday. Geotech filed the lawsuit in February 2020, and the matter was heard on various dates in 2021 and 2022. Yes, I do remember this situation, this story. Well, it is what it is. The court has ruled. Let's see what, if anything else, will happen from here on in. But as of now, the court has ruled. Let's see. After. Oh dear, this is serious. U.S. tourist bitten by shark after snorkeling in the Bahamas. Somebody's going to be sued. And let's go back up the line. All right, let's leave that there for the time being. Those are just some of the stories trending at this time. Norman Hines just joined us. Must have been a busy day for you, Norman Hines. Good to see you online. Karen Rowe says, hello, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Top of the day to you all. To you too, Karen Rowe. Karine Campbell says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Viewers and listeners, good afternoon, Karine Campbell, who tells us it's raining. Where, generally speaking, where in Jamaica are you again, Karine? Where in Jamaica is it, as far as the rain is concerned? Please share that information so we have an idea of how widespread the rainfall is. Who's this now? Places with white. Are places with white sand, beaches, warm weather that doesn't. There are places with white sand beaches, warm weather, and don't have the problems we face in Jamaica, crime especially. And this is coming from T in New York. Thank you very much, T in New York, for your message on our text line. Karine Campbell confirms that she's in St. Thomas. Good to have you on board, Karine Campbell in St. Thomas. Thank you very much for tuning in and being a part of the experience. 876-922-4112-5 are the numbers to call. Whatever is on your mind, feel free to call 876-922-4112-5. Hello to Mr. McCook of the Jamaica International Independence Foreign Song Competition, Harry G. and his team, as we get closer to the what they like to call the business end of this Jamaica International Independence Foreign Song Competition. And we also have a message here. Dr. Dwayne Dice says, hi, Dervan, the air smells like burning bushes. It reminds me of the burning grass on my parents' farm when I was little. And this is in reference to the hazardous haze, which has been blanketing large swathes of land across the USA and Canada. So that's what he's commenting on. Hello, Natalie Winter. We didn't realize you were on. She says, great afternoon, Dervan. No radio signal in the rainy weather. Big up from Washington Gardens, Kingston, Jamaica. Enjoying the rest of your day. If you're hearing us now, Natalie Winter, can you tell us, can you confirm whether you're now hearing us? We've been having quite a torrid time as far as our transmission is concerned. And we're terribly sorry for those who have been negatively impacted so far. Earl Allen says, weather afternoon, Ambassador Dervan Malcolm. Big up all peace-loving Jamaicans at home and abroad. Ambassador Malcolm, I want you to big up the new U.S. ambassador to Jamaica, a product of South St. Andrew, Rosetown to be exact. Brother Dervan, we need our country back from some Rwandan-style politicians who want to make Jamaica the Rwanda of the Caribbean. No, what's this now? No JTH. Can't afford that. All right. Thank you for sharing your concerns, Earl Allen. Thank you. Your message is appreciated. And I think we'll leave those messages for now. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. And we got a response to the request. Who was this now? We got a response to someone who asked a question. Where did the message go? Let's see. Where did that message go? We need to find it. We need to retrieve it. But this person was asking, no. Where is it? Where is it? Somebody was asking a land-related question. Call it up. Okay. All right. So let's forward. I think we retrieved it. I think this is it. So let's forward. Yeah. Let's forward these messages to Attorney at Law Gloria Brown. Right. So we have forwarded those messages. Hello to Carla. She says, Lady K from East Kingston. It's here in Georgia. Is it Georgia? GA? No? Or is it good afternoon? Maybe it's the abbreviation for good afternoon. Lady K from East Kingston. It's here. It's hot here in Georgia. So you are in fact in Georgia then. Is that what you're trying to tell us, Lady K? That you're in Georgia? Please confirm if that's the state of Georgia or the country Georgia or some other reference. Please let us know, Lady K. Thank you very much. Cuban in Georgia is busy typing away. Let's take the break and come back.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down.
Lady K confirms that, yes, indeed, she is in the state of Georgia. Good to have you on board. Thank you for checking in, and all the very best as we continue with more on your program, both sides here on Power 106. on 876-921-225. Let's do it the normal way. ¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 4:16. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:16. 现在几点了？4点16分。16 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now's the time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. And thanks for your Lady K. Cuban in Georgia says, Sir Malcolm, why is the government of Jamaica so stubborn when it comes up? And whenever they make missteps, they do not. Instead, they act as if they don't know what they're doing, says Cuban in Georgia. Thank you very much for your message, Cuban in Georgia. 876-922-4112-5. Lenworth Anderson has joined us. So too Olga Hollingshead. Good to have you on board. Thank you very much for making it both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And let's see what else is happening here as we go down the line of messages. Let's shift to this one. Joan Edgehill is telling everybody greetings. Greetings to you too, Joan. Thank you very much. And let's share with you some useful information here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. We've been combing through the newspapers as usual, in particular the Gleaner, and reflecting on where we're coming from and where we are right now. In 2013, the Gleaner reported with the screaming headline, "Children Betrayed." That was the headline on the front page of the Gleaner on this day in 2013. The story was about mounting cases of child abuse, and parents were being urged to be careful who they left their children with. There was also a story about Usain Bolt's father being robbed in Falmouth. Mr. Wesley Bolt lost $500,000 in the robbery, but recovered his bank book. In 2014, on this day in 2014, the Sunday Gleaner headline was, "Till Death Do Us Part." The story was about domestic violence reaching crisis levels, citing 24 lovers who had killed their spouses in 5 months. Do you remember that period? I remember that period of time, actually. It seemed like everywhere someone was taking out the lights of a spouse. On this day in 2014, I remember, yes, the Gleaner headline was, "Till Death Do Us Part." The story about domestic violence reaching crisis level, citing 24 lovers who had killed their spouses in 5 months. "Act now before it is too late" was another screaming headline. Also on the front page of the Gleaner on this day in 2014, gunmen rape 8-month pregnant woman in Spanish Town. That was 2014. 2017, no cash plus payday. That was the headline of the Gleaner on this day in 2017. The government trustee said there was still no end in sight and that losses stood at $19 billion. 2018, on this day in 2018, the Gleaner reported that residents of, let's see, Massimure Meadows. Anybody who lives in that area, please confirm the correct pronunciation of that place name, Massemure Meadows in Little London, Westmoreland. And the story is that residents of Massimure Meadows in Little London, Westmoreland, woke up to possibly their worst fears when they were greeted with the horrifying news that 4 members of the community, 3 men and a woman, had been slaughtered gangland style by invading gunmen who entered the community shortly after midnight. The 4 victims, who all suffered multiple gunshot wounds, were identified as brothers, a 31-year-old and a 33-year-old. The others were a 23-year-old and the lone female, a 25-year-old. The more things change, sadly, the more things change, the more they remain the same. We're still having these issues to deal with. Still some ways to go. Still some ways to go. There's another story that we wanted to share. 1967, the Hanover Parish Council supported at its meeting a resolution proposed by the Clarendon Parish Council that government be requested to create a national and general public holiday each year on the birthday of the late Sir Donald Sangster, Prime Minister. Sangster died on April 11 after being appointed Prime Minister only 6 weeks before. Well, they do have, well, this was 1967, but here in 2023, they do have, and they have been executing a program of honoring former prime ministers on the anniversary of their birth. So that which was being proposed in 1967 has been happening. It has been happening. And let's see. We have another one for you. 1950, businessman and member of the Jamaica Manufacturers Association, Harry Vendries, informed his colleagues at a meeting of the association that he and A.D. Scott discovered a source of petroleum in Jamaica as long ago as 1945. They've been in discussions with the government since January 1949 regarding the question of the royalty they would receive, but were not prepared to accept the offer proposed. and as their personal income and worth were currently adequate, they did not intend to pursue the matter. And there's one last piece. Where is it? Is it this one? 1947, L.L. Simmons, Western St. Mary, member of the House of Representatives, announced that he and other members of the House who had recently resigned from the Jamaica Labour Party had decided to form a new political party to be known as the People's Political Party, PPP. The PPP would be the fourth current L party, the others being the Jamaica Labour Party, the People's National Party, and the dying Jamaica Democratic Party. Simmons's colleagues were E.R. Dudley Evans, Minister for Agriculture, Lands, Commerce and Mines, and member of the House of Representatives for Northwest St. Andrew, B.B. Cook, member of the House of Representatives for South St. Elizabeth, H.C. Cork, member of the House of Representatives for South Clarendon, and G.W. Gallimore, member of the House of Representatives for Western St. Anne. So just a few nuggets of history that we've been sharing with you. 1971, a contract aimed at developing a national airport plan to meet aviation needs for the next 20 years was signed between the Ministry of Communications and Works and a Canadian consulting group comprising the Montreal Engineering Company Limited and Cates, Pete, Marwick and Company on June 8. The Honorable Ellie Matalon resigned on this day as Minister of State for Education to contest the by-election in East Kingston to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of the Honorable F.A. Glasspool. Florizel Glasspool. The former College of Arts, Science and Technology, CAST, became fully chartered as a university on this day in 1999. From just over 50 students and 4 programs in 1958, when CAST was first established, UTEC, as the institution is known today, now has a student population of more than 10,000 and offers over 50 programs at certificate, diploma, and degree levels. One moment, please.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30.
Crime and violence, poverty and starvation, ecological calamity, economic instability.
So the institution was formally, as in UTEC, was formally accorded university status on September 1, 1995, as the University of Technology, Jamaica. University of Technology, Jamaica Act 27, 1999, which makes permanent provisions for the establishment of the University of Technology, Jamaica. It was approved by Parliament on this day in 1999 and signed into law by the Governor General also on this day. ¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 4:30. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:30. Tidian le. 现在几点了？5:29. 29 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. And we're still taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And for those who follow over the years the Festival Queen show, part of Independence celebrations, the parishes of Hanover, St. Thomas, and Manchester will select their parish queens this weekend to participate in the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen Competition 2023. We wish them well. The Festival Queen Parish coronations are scheduled to take place at the Jockey Factory in Hanover and Colonel's Cove in Morant Bay, St. Thomas on Saturday, June 10. That's this Saturday, and Sunday, June 11, respectively. Both events will start at 8 in the evening. On Sunday, June 11, a similar coronation will take place at Bel Air High School Auditorium in Manchester, starting at 7 in the evening. The competitions are being organized by the parish offices of the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC. Former Miss Clarendon Festival Queen 2022, Cherie Gay Johnson, said the competition was an incentive for young women to network and to develop themselves holistically. Well, we wish the contestants all the very best. And I think over the years we've had the pleasure of hosting the Festival Queens in our studios for interviews. Let's see what happens as we get closer to that time of year. In the meantime, though, keep those comments coming and keep those messages coming in, and the calls. The numbers, once again, 876-922-4112-5, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. And apparently one of the areas of focus for the coming out of the talks between Rishi Sunak, the British Prime Minister, and Joe Biden, the US President, is that they have announced a green funding agreement. UK firms could gain access to billions in US green funding under new plans announced by Rishi Sunak and Joe Biden. The Atlantic Declaration would allow British electric car firms access to new US green tax credits, and subsidies. Steps up cooperation on AI, artificial intelligence, and includes a data protection deal. The deal may be subject to approval by Congress and state-by-state agreement in the US for some areas. Mr. Sunak said the deal sets a new standard for economic cooperation. The agreement comes after hopes of a full-blown free trade deal were abandoned. On the plane ride over to Washington, Mr. Sunak said, "For a while now, that has not been a priority for either the US or the UK. At a press conference alongside Mr. Biden, Mr. Sunak insisted the targeted approach of the Atlantic Declaration was about what can do the most benefit to our citizens as quickly as possible. And the deal would mitigate some of the impact of the US flagship Inflation Reduction Act, IRA, on the economy, the UK economy. Mr. Biden's key policy is focused on building up the US domestic energy market and contains 370 billion US dollars or 297 billion pounds to boost green technology production. Under the current policy, the IRA provides tax credit worth 3,750 US dollars or 3,000 pounds for each electric vehicle manufactured in the US or which use components mined, processed, or manufactured in the country. The UK is already a net exporter of raw materials for electric vehicle batteries to the US. But nations without a US trade deal are barred from accessing IRA subsidies. The Atlantic Declaration commits the UK and US to working on a new critical minerals agreement, which would give buyers of vehicles made using critical minerals processed, recycled, or mined by UK companies access to tax credit. The declaration says the agreement would be launched after consultation with the US Congress. Japan already has a similar deal, which allows Japanese firms to also swerve export duties on minerals used in producing electric vehicle batteries. The declaration also includes a commitment to a new UK US data bridge, which would allow UK firms to transfer data freely to certified US organizations without paying a levy. Downing Street estimate the change will affect around 55,000 UK businesses, translating into £92.4 million in direct savings per year. So it looks like they had some real fruitful talks. Rishi Sunak of the UK and Joe Biden of the USA. Let's see how it all unfolds as time goes on. Continuing with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And there's some breaking news with respect to the economy as well. So let's continue with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5, 876, whatever is on your mind, please feel free to share. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. So here's Sean trying to reach us again. For weeks he has been trying, but his connection has been awful, actually. And so let's see if he has made some adjustments now. Good afternoon, Sean. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please. Hello? Looks like he's still having phone troubles. Hello? No. Looks like those phone troubles are still hampering Sean's ability to speak with us here on both sides of the story. We hope that problem is eventually fixed, Sean, if you're hearing us. In the meantime, let's continue. Cuban in Georgia says, Sir Malcolm, I think I heard the security minister today on another program saying Jamaica is a liberal democracy. What kind of liberalism are they practicing? This is not the way a liberal democratic government operates. Then he goes on to say, it seems to me that the people in the Caribbean and Africa are pawns. I think that's what you meant. The spelling is a little off, but we figured it out. It seems to me that the people in the Caribbean and Africa are pawns in the eyes of the big world powers. There is no resource for these countries who have been exploited by those same countries. The only thing they want from Caribbean and African people are labor and entertainment, no sustainable development of these countries, writes Cuban in Georgia. Thank you, Cuban in Georgia, for your message. Here's another one. This one says, Hope all is well, Dervan. It is a shame Michael Manley and Pierre Trudeau went to school in England. Maysmuir is near Little London West. Let's do this again. Hope all is well, Dervan. It is a shame Michael Manley and Pierre Trudeau went to school in England. Maysmuir is near Little London, Westmoreland. I am here 50 years. I will always try to keep Jamaica's name high. Do not give up on Jamaica, says this listener. And there's another message. When I came to Kingston in 1956, there was a lost and found department. Thanks for sharing, Clifford. All the very best. Let's go to this phone call now via our text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876 365 3346. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dervan.
Good afternoon.
Oh, it's a long time I haven't called you, sir. It's Churchman.
Welcome, although we're close to the break. Perhaps we could, let's just take the break and come back
Yes,
to
sir.
you in just a moment, please.
I said the world is upside down. Oh, yeah. Too much injustice. How can there be peace? Religious hypocrisy.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
You see, my brethren, what about the children now? Hey, they say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5:15. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 5:15. 现在几点了？5点加15分. 15 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Let's go back to Churchman. Yes, sir. Thanks for calling.
Yes. How the rain treating you out there, sir, Kingston, sir?
Well, we do our best to navigate the streets and the general wet conditions out there.
Calling you from Manchester, yeah, Porous.
Is it pouring in Porous?
Yes, it's all day almost, and It's rain, but I am enjoying the rain because where I live, as the rain fall, you don't know it's the rain fall because it run off.
Oh, you're in an elevated area.
Yes, but I tell you something. The road, I don't think both government, the PMP and the TLP, they abandoned us. Both of them used to really council MP, but they abandoned us up here. That's all in Spring Grove.
But two can play that
It's a
game.
disgrace, man.
Two can play that game. You can abandon them too.
No, sir. What was I call you about? The condition of the world, It's very troubling what's happening in the world today.
Mm.
And it looks like the people that will lead the world. And not really depend on God, is the devil. And I put the world in the hands of the devil, and that's why having so much problem today in the world, and it's not better. It's not better, Mr. Dervan, because the Bible says a man will lead people must be just. And if you have people lead people where the devil is the devil lead them. So I tell you, we're not trouble, sir. Not trouble, the world, not trouble.
Well, we have to do what we can while we can. We can't just sit around and wait for the great explosion.
And you say the explosion, what do you mean?
Whatever is out there, because you were just saying a while ago how things were, and things have always there. People have always had, for generations, for centuries, people have always had challenges to deal with, struggles, have always had situations to deal with. All kinds of leaders have peopled the world, and it's just a matter of how we are able to navigate our way in this ever-changing environment.
I think maybe you're about the same age, but I remember in the 70s, in the 90s or 80s there. You have a money, if you have 1,000, I don't know, it have no use. But you see, right now the time,
no use to who? No use to who? Drop $1,000 anywhere in Jamaica and people will still pick it up.
Yeah, man. But I'm telling you, how things stay now. Nothing nice again. And I tell you, man, it'll get worse because the leaders that we have it, and the people really putting them up, and the people are going to suffer because if you have these leaders leading you, you are going to suffer, because them set up themselves, so they're going to suffer. So, Mr. Dervan, I didn't call you become more, I know, say I'm going to close, but it takes so long because I'm going to give you some card, and because I can't really sit by and not really give an opinion, but because, if we really seek God now, you can't really escape. You can't really escape because you can't stop the judgment to come but we can stay ourselves. Yes, sir. Mr. Dervan?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Hearing you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. You go to church, sir? Is that person believe in God? You go to church?
Yes.
Because I tell you, Mr. Dervan, me hear all the while me hear on the language here, about 4 languages you have. If God get a man like you, Mr. Dervan, really, not them time, a man like you really, if he step up to a place, and really, you're a pastor, because I tell you, the world want you, God want you for a man like you. You must be so great, sir, I tell you.
You're very
kind.
So
you could just think about that, sir. Think about that, Mr. Dervan, and I will encourage you when you reach and make sure you're baptized in the name of Jesus Christ. But I'm telling you, sir, a man like you, a A man like you, sir, this country. Politics, I will encourage you about politics, but step up to your plates and be a pastor, and I tell you, the world want you, Mr. Dervan.
Thank
Yes,
you very
sir. So Dervan, I'm going to call you next time, so you take care, yeah?
You too. Thanks for the call.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Some more messages pouring in. H. Morgan in Birmingham says, "Hi, Dervan, can you please text me that number as I'm going to bed and won't hear if you read it out? Many thanks." I thought we sent you, didn't you? Hold on, let's see. Uh, I thought we sent you that information. All right, let's do this. How do we do this now? Let's go back to this and taking a while to bring. Here we go. This one, and then we go to view contact. Where is share? Let's go back. Share. We need to share contact more. Oh, come on. Let's go again. Let's do this. And that. And see if. All right. So let's try this now. And forward the information. More. No. Let's forward. Why is it not happening here? Something not right here. Something is not right. Oh, here we go. So we have share now. We now have that. And so we're going to send it to H. Morgan in Birmingham. So you should have the information. H. Morgan in Birmingham. We have shared with you the contact for Attorney at Law Gloria Brown. Calicia Findlay is not available at this time. So Gloria Brown will respond to your message, H. Morgan in Birmingham. This one from Nordia in Manchester. She says, "Good day, Mr. Malcolm. I'm asking for a little help here. I'm a regular listener to your program. I want to ask a question here. Is Jamaica mailing system working? Because a package was mailed to me from the USA from the 11th of May when my daughter posted it a few days after she could track it, and it was in Kingston. And until now, I can't get my parcel. They said it was at customs. The mailing system is not good out here. Could you check it out for me? Whatever you can do, let me know, and I send the information." And this is Nordia from Manchester. Thank you for your message. Sorry to hear of your plight, Nordia in Manchester. We haven't been in touch with anybody in the postal service in a very long time. We don't even know who is the communications person right now. But let's see what we can find out and let you know, Nordia. Clifford says, "Dervan, I was speaking about Jamaica, not on the Canadian welcome list." Yeah, that's a situation created by Jamaicans. It's just one of those realities we have to deal with. Deal with it. We just have to deal with it. We have had issues, our people have had issues over the years and have engaged in certain practices, and we are where we are. But all is not lost. This one says, good evening, my brother. Still afternoon here. Thank you. Good afternoon. Was just listening to that guy saying, nothing don't nice again. What he talking about? Nothing don't nice to him again. Depends on what and where he get his niceness from. Patrick. Thank you very much for your message, Patrick. Natalie Winter says, hope to hear your show tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Bye all. Take care. Love to all listeners and viewing public worldwide. Best wishes. Well, I gather we're supposed to be in St. Elizabeth tomorrow, all things being well. There's a farm show taking place in St. Elizabeth tomorrow. And if you listen, you will know where we are and what will be happening. So can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Thursday, the 8th of June, 2023. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5, live from somewhere in St. Elizabeth. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
I said the world is upside down. I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. Oh yeah. Alright. Looking at the world, I agree. What's fools we mortals? Morality is in the mind.
Oh, you're doing better than most.
I said the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down.
Oh, from your parish.
I said the world is upside down. Oh, yeah. Too much injustice.
Yes.
How can there be
Miss Muir.
peace?
Yes.
Just hypocrisy. Political tyranny.
Oh,
You see it, my brethren.
that's your neck of the woods.
The children now. Hey. They say the world is spinning around. I said the world is
I
upside
can
down.
only imagine.
They say the world is spinning around. I said the world is upside down. They say the
Well, it's
world
always
is
good to
spinning
hear from you.
around. I said the world is upside down. They say the world is spinning around.
But you know, I have actually get a lot of that these days because of the season we're in. Actually,
Crime and violence.
yes, my
Poverty and starvation.
mother-in-law does a good job at making good use of the man.
Economic instability. What's wrong with humanity?
You too. Take
Have
care.
they lost their sanity? For
I
the
have
sake
no
of
idea.
vanity. We like to love now. You know
Oh.
that we need it, yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been
What about the
informed of the details yet. I just got a bit of information that says we're supposed to be in St. Elizabeth tomorrow. You too, and it's good to hear you. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.